Hello everyone. Today I wanted to talk about choosing an education model that works for you and your child. So I really wanted to talk about this because I have a lot of parents that come to me and ask like, well, how do I know? There's so many different things out there. I can put my kid in a charter school. I can put my kid in a private school. I can put them in public school, I can homeschool them, and it's like all these different options and all these different schools, and they just simply don't know where to turn. So in this video, I wanted to share some of the questions that I asked right off the bat, and for me and my children, as well as with clients as well, just to get your just to get you thinking about like what questions to ask yourself when making that decision. So the first thing I would say is think about what your child needs. So my first thing that I go to is, does my kid need a lot of one-on-one support, like a lot of hand holding? Are they one of those kids that really needs to sit down with somebody else and have it explained to them? Because if that is the case, then public school might not be the best option for your child. With public school, there's a lot of kids in the classroom. Let's just be honest, there's a lot of kids in the classroom. And when I taught, the most kids I ever had in a classroom was about 34 kids. And it was difficult. And with the younger babies that I taught in the traditional classroom, I had the most of 25, which is a lot. So if you know that your child needs a lot of hand holding, and you just know your own babies. Like, I know my babies, we all know our babies, but if you know in your heart that your child will struggle in that environment, that might not be the place for you. Even charter, in that case, it depends on the charter. Every single charter school is different, but some charter schools, the numbers are still very high, so charter school might not be an option. So take that into consideration. What does your child actually need? Another thing to take into consideration is, what does your family need? Like, what kind of schedule are you looking for? Do you need something that's extremely flexible? Because the traditional schools, charter, private, public, they're pretty rigid. Kids need to go to school every day, 5 days a week. Granted, you have holidays and everything, but they need to be at school. Otherwise, they're missing a ton of stuff. So if you need a lot of flexibility, if your family travels a lot, maybe you should consider getting a tutor or adopt some kind of online model, online school for your child. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to so there's a lot to consider when you have a lifestyle that you need the flexibility of, like, oh, I can't take my kid to school every day. They're going to miss some days. So keep that in mind. And also think about, anytime I tour a school, I always ask, what is your curriculum? What does the curriculum look like? And I think that's me as an educator. One of the things I always look for, especially with private schools and stuff, I ask, I'm like, okay, what is your curriculum? Oh, it's XYZ. Do you use that curriculum across every single grade level? And that's something that I know a lot of parents don't think about. And here's why. I like when a school adopts a curriculum and everybody follows it, because curriculum is meant to build on itself, right? So if you have a kid in kindergarten that's using X curriculum, when they move to first grade, that curriculum just builds on itself because it's the same thing across the board. That's the way curriculum's designed. So you go from kindergarten to first grade to second grade, and there's some continuity between what they're learning and how they're growing. So when I go into a school and I ask them, what's your curriculum? It's like, and you'll hear this a lot in the public school setting. Oh, the teachers use a lot of their own resources and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. That means there's no curriculum across the board. And don't get me wrong, I completely respect educators and the things that they pull. I feel like educators make better decisions for kids than principals in a room picking out curriculum and all this other stuff. But there is something to be said about using the same program across several different grades, provided it's a great program. Let's start there. Provided it's a great program, when you can stick with something and let the program work, I feel that that is more beneficial than, say, a kindergarten teacher pulling all these different resources and a first grade teacher pulling all these different resources, and they're not connected at all. We're just sticking to the standards and trying to teach them the best way we can with what we have. A child's education can become a little disjointed at times, because if there's something that was missed or something like along those lines, the kids will never get it. So I'm not bashing teachers. Trust me, I did it. When I worked in a public school setting, I wasn't given curriculum. I had to pull. It was really up to me and my team to figure out what we were going to teach. And I've also been in the setting where we had a curriculum. Everybody used the same curriculum. So it's just, these are things that you have to consider for yourself and your child, because we have to ask questions. A lot of the times this information is not going to be given over freely. We have to ask questions, and then us as parents have to determine, okay, is this going to work for my child? No? Okay, then I need to move on to the next thing. So that's something I wanted to talk about. Think about what's going to work best for your child, because I truly believe there is no one-size-fits-all model when it comes to education. So if you are struggling right now, especially with school starting soon, at least here in Nevada, or it might not be depending on when you watch this video, but if you're struggling trying to identify, what curriculum do I use? Should I homeschool my kid? Should I take him to charter? Or should I, do all the things? Definitely reach out to me. Go to www.projectconfettikids.com and let's hop on a phone call and figure out what works best for you and your child, and then we can go from there and help you feel empowered about the decisions that you're making for your kid. So I hope you're having a great day, and let me know in the comments below what you're doing with your child this school year or what you've done in the previous school years, and I will see you next time.